Hi everyone and welcome to Sales Pace episode 2. Today our guest is international marketing expert and founder of Hayrapetyan Business Consulting, Susanna Hayrapetyan from Germany. We talked about B2B marketing trends and tactics and also differences between B2B marketing and sales and many more. Let's get in Rooqet. Hi Susanna, it's very good to have you here as my guest today. And give me, let's start from that, right? So give me a little bit background from you. Where are you from? How you ended up living in Germany, and we'll take it from there.
Thanks for having me, Hayrapetyan. It's always, nice to jump on a call with someone familiar and have a nice talk about marketing, good old marketing. About my origins, of course, I'm Armenian. Originally from Armenia. I've been living in Germany for over 5 years now. Of course, I came here to study. Studying was my sole purpose initially, and I ended up living here.
That's actually great. And you founded your company in 2020, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, so one of the worst years possibly for many businesses. How was that experience, like founding business in the worst year, and how did you overcome all the challenges there?
Quite honestly, when it comes to service business, not a product business, the setup that needs to be done is much less, and there's no product development involved. There's no R&D team, and there is no initial huge financial investment needed for founding a business. So I started everything with as small resources as possible, with the smallest team possible. There were 3 people in the beginning, excluding me. I would say the biggest challenge was just registering the business in Germany, because there's so many, traditional steps involved when one has to, register business as a foreigner.
Yeah.
Because there are some institutions. I don't want to overwhelm our audience with details of what kind of institutions one has to go to and register, but usually it takes about 6 months. In the business school that I was studying in, I wasn't the only entrepreneur to be there, so I have some stories gathered from everyone, what kind of challenges each one was facing when registering business. And I have to say, I did it in 2 months, and no one has ever experienced such short terms before. And the reason for that is that I was actually calling the person who was, the dedicated person, who was like working on my case, working on my registering project on a daily basis. Because of COVID, they were working less than 4 hours per day. In Germany, we call it Kurzarbeit. It's like short working. Yeah. And the reason for that was like overcoming this crisis, allowing them to work from home, remote working, etc. And this actually ended up being a disaster for me, because I couldn't go there in person. I couldn't, send an email and receive a response in a timely manner. So what I ended up doing is calling that person every single day in the mornings. That was like my morning routine. Like, wake up, okay, I have to make a call. And I shortened the process from what was supposed to be 6 months to 2 months.
Wow, that's actually a good result.
Yeah, I hope so.
I think that guy or the girl, she was a little bit annoyed, but everything ended up well for you.
She was actually where she was, handing the documents over to me already in the end. She told me that she's happier than me. The whole thing is over.
Yeah, she can sleep.
Yes, I hope
Yeah, and how was like marketing agency? Because I know you're doing marketing, so you have marketing agency. In 2020, selling marketing services was pretty hard. How you overcome that specific challenge? How you did it?
Well, in my case, everything actually worked out very organically. I would say very, as what it was supposed to be. Because even before founding, I had some clients.
Mm,
So I was doing some freelancing for quite some time already, and I had some projects already that I was taking care of them like myself all alone solely. As soon as those projects became bigger and I figured out that some others wanted to join, I was in a situation where I couldn't already take care of them all by
mhm,
myself. So the idea of founding a firm actually was created from that situation, that I had projects, I had some, signed contract, and I couldn't take care of them all alone. So I
mhm,
read the firm, I figured what kind of, specialists I needed, what
mhm,
kind of help I needed in my team to do it already all together. So once I already had the team, we kind of broadened more the projects that we already had, and we all already said, okay, we have more space, you can apply there. But of course, as I said, lead generation and like the whole sales process was really complicated during the COVID-19,
mhm,
and solely because everyone was so overwhelmed on social media platforms. Everyone was really overwhelmed by too many offers, by too many requests. And what we did differently was actually more, human interaction. There was
mhm,
no like sales pitch out of nowhere out to a cold audience. No, we really built some good relationships here in Germany, also in the US, in a very long-term manner, not
mhm.
term results, not really like cold calling every single day. We didn't do such things.
Understood. That's pretty good because today, like humanization of business is the key of success, I would say. And I heard this question a lot, and I want to ask it also to you about especially B2B marketing. So, what would you say is difference between B2B marketing and B2B sales? Because we all know what is B2B sales, right? But what is B2B
Yeah.
marketing?
Well, honestly, I belong to the group of people who think that B2B marketing and B2B sales have to be merged
Mm-hmm,
and be one organization rather than two separate ones. In marketing, we call it demand generation. So instead of having marketing qualified leads generated and then transferring those leads to the sales department so that they can take care of that separately afterwards, I do not believe in this concept,
mm-hmm,
because it might be working well in the past, but it actually, I wouldn't say stopped working, but really the value of this dramatically increased over time. And what I actually suggest doing instead is having a revenue department
mm-hmm,
that combines these two, so marketing and sales. I have actually built such departments for a couple of B2B companies in the past, and the way I love working in this regard is doing this. First of all, figuring out what kind of goals the organization has for, let's say, the foreseeable future, maybe for the next couple of months, 3, 6, 9, 12,
mm-hmm,
doesn't matter. But really figuring out, okay, these are the targets.
mm-hmm,
These are the targets for sales, and then the marketing has to catch up.
mm-hmm,
Not the other way around. It's not the marketing deciding, okay, these are the targets, these are the tools we are using, these are the social media platforms we are, gonna be in. No, it's actually working the other way around. The organization, the organization, like the C-level executives have to sit, really have the talk, the annual talk or whatever you might call it,
yeah.
figuring out, okay, in order to survive, this is the minimum viable product. When I say the minimum viable product, it actually, has to do with more than just, the product that you have within the organization, of course. What I mean is, okay, this is the minimum survival kit.
Yeah.
And this is what we have, what we might want to have as a perk, like maybe plus 25%, increase in sales or in income. And already depending on that, we would translate these financial terms into actions. Okay, in order to reach this, we have to make this many calls. We have to have not this many calls. We have to have this many leads in order to convert to this many customers.
Yeah.
Have this many leads, we have to have at least twice that number of outreaches, of cold calls, or emailing, and other ways of lead generation or demand generation package.
Yeah.
And in this concept, actually, you might ask, okay, lead generation or demand generation? I would say definitely demand generation. And the difference between these two is mainly in the way you're approaching to getting those leads. And I firmly believe in sales qualified leads rather than marketing qualified leads. And the reason for that is because, educational and other ways of, other types of content that marketing put out there is really welcome. It still has to be done. But when the marketing prepares the platform, the real, deep and really high qualified platform where all the different conversations can, start and begin, then the sales can always jump in the right place and time and take it from there.
Yeah.
There is no really nicely, design line where the marketing's work ends and the sales job begins. Because when we have to make these rules, the whole process becomes less humanized, as I said, and more artificial. And I wanted to also mention the ABM here, because account-based marketing, when marketing team has a really clear set of target audience, meaning the companies that they would like to collaborate with, the C-level executives in those companies, by name, their biography, what they like, what they don't like. It's more of also headhunting, way of, outreaching to them, because before even outreaching, you know so many things about them. You know their product, you know their unique selling points, you know also those people who might want to be involved in the decision making, or they usually are involved in the decision making. And you, instead of guessing, instead of actually initiating the conversation, then figuring out, okay, these are the people that I have to talk with. No, actually finding out these things in advance and really designing the conversation in that way. So this account-based marketing is, and this is what the future of B2B marketing is.
Yeah, that takes a longer time, I think, than usually when we talk about B2B sales, people thinking that you need to send like 2,000 emails at once or do like 200 calls per day, etc. Very cold and no research done. But yeah, I totally agree with you that a deeper research and account-based marketing is totally the future. And you talked about demand generation. I would like to, if you can give us a little bit more details, what it is, what it stands for, that would be great.
Sure, of course. So the whole idea of demand generation is that there is no just one form on your website where one has to, fill out it with email, with a name and I don't know, phone number, and you have a lead.
Yeah.
No. Demand generation actually works the other way around. You ask, for example, the marketing department or the marketing part of the revenue department, ask sales, okay, what kind of questions are you being asked from the leads every day? And they give a list of all the frequently asked questions. And the marketing department figures out, okay, we have to address each question one by one with the best, with the most appropriate content possible.
Yep.
And for example, in our case, when we're working with B2B companies, this is the way we work. The sales says, okay, we're being asked about the price just too many times. Like, why is it so high or why is it so low? Maybe the quality not so well, because the price never is right for the customer. It just never is. Whatever price you put out there, it is either too high, it is either too low, or it is just average, and you just like, okay, I'm not gonna get the quality that I want from this. So we love to address the price in like short video formats for our. So we have like this Q&A session, very small, like 1 minute long, during which we just ask the product designer or the one who just works with the product the most. It can be, you decide, whoever this person is in the organization. And we ask why does it cost this much? His way, he explains all the unique benefits that the product delivers and the way the price was actually decided. Because once the customer understands, okay, the price was designed this way, and because of this, they might already understand, okay, there was no other way around. It was inevitable that this product would cost this much. And addressing each question that the sale delivers to the marketing department in this format, understanding, okay, for this question, we're going to have a video format. For this question, we're going to have a webinar. For this question, we're going to have a blog post. Write an article about it. For this one, we can, I don't know, you decide, have a podcast, an audio version, and have a clear understanding of what kind of questions the sales is being asked, and marketing has to deliver answers to every single question. That is one way of doing, well, not one way, like that is the first thing that the marketing part of the revenue department has to deliver. The second thing is event-based marketing that the demand has to do. So figuring out way in advance, preferably for 6 months at least in advance, what kind of events are going to happen in the next six months. So it can be, I don't know, Christmas, Easter, Black Friday. It can be even a huge hackathon that is happening close to you, or maybe you are being invited to a very nice conference that you would like to address with a nice content beforehand. So figuring out all the events that are going to happen and addressing with the marketing and really talking with sales, what kind of offers, unique offers can be delivered to the audience during those unique times, unique events. And demand generation is more about being active but passive too. So like filling out a form is a passive way of generating. You don't do anything, it's just there on your website. But demand generation, you really actively educate your customer. You do not wait for them to make a call to you to express all the educational knowledge that you have accumulated there, and you have been waiting just for that call to tell them everything. No, this kind of things don't happen anymore. You do not get calls and educate the clients. You actually educate them, and then their consciousness just levels up. It's gradually increases up to the point that they decide, okay, I'm gonna make a call and learn more.
And even if you call them, they already know who are you. They already know the company. So for them, it will be much easier to accept your call and listen at least. what you're trying to say to them. Yeah, that's cool. And recently, I was also thinking about our company, about how to, like how to, what tactics to use in our marketing, and I decided to make it more personal. So as you said, I also started doing some videos and as like short videos, etc. And what would you say you suggest for like B2B companies? What tactics they should use in marketing?
Well, first of all, figuring out what your sales funnel looks like. Like beforehand, of course, there are so many important steps like figuring out who your buyer persona is and what is your first journey usually is, like independent of your company, because you can look at your competitors, buyer's journey and figure out like an analog of all of that to yours. There is a higher chance that the same buyer's journey will be yours rather than inventing the wheel for yourself, because you save a lot of energy and time by just your competitors rather than figuring out on your own for many years to come. So have this full understanding of who you want to target and narrow it down as much as possible. The narrower, the better, because if you really want to serve everybody, you'll end up serving no one, or the quality of your leads will decrease by the time. Every single time that you will, want to involve more, serve more niches, have like a really general product that fits all, you'll end up having no unique selling point. Figuring this out first, then designing the sales process really well. I personally love the format of mind maps, because when it's served with a very nice map where you see both how it starts and ends, what kind of tactics are being used, and this document actually can be used by everyone. So don't shy away from sending this to your, even intern, and you will, be sure that they are capable of just reading it and understanding. So mind maps work well. I love Miro as mind map tool. It works really well. And what then? Then, as soon as the sales funnel is really, in place and created and is approved by everyone, this is also a really important, step, because I witness every single time that the sale decides something for themselves and never consult with anyone, never ask for anyone's feedback. So this is actually no. Once the sales funnel is in place and approved, then the marketing has to come up with a calendar. So what the calendar is, it is like it has to be a draft that can be designed for at least 6 months and take into account all the sales goals and sales objectives. It takes into account all the frequently asked questions you remember that I talked about earlier. And they address all the questions and all the goals that they have heard from the sales team and put it on the calendar. And really having content for up to 6 months. This is really important because in some cases, those contents are really, lengthy. It's not just a one post that you put out there. It's not just, a couple of questions or caption. In cases, it's a lengthy deck, for example, 26 pages long. So it really depends what kind of questions you are addressing to and in which format. So the sooner you start putting together this, calendar, the better. So that's another trick, of a good B2B marketing team. Then after the draft is there, really talking it through, adjusting it, talking to the designers, really understanding, okay, this kind of, maybe this content can be delivered only in 3 months, or this can be really pushed, towards the, sooner. And once the timelines and content is ready, having a talk with some of your best clients that are genuinely there for you, that you can ask feedback from. Ask questions like, what was your experience of converted by us? What was the, maybe I wouldn't say like cons, but what you didn't like in the process? What would you have liked to be improved? And please tell us what kind of information you were lacking before conversions. Maybe they will tell you like, I would have loved to, read a nice deck from you, or maybe I would have loved to read a nice article from you that you didn't provide. And accumulating all this information, then you can already say, hey, marketing, you have a job to do, because doing this one way, having only one way road, you will be always, lacking information. You will always just be standing in the corner, having just, this angle of view, not knowing what else is out there. Because most probably, your clients talk to many firms. Most probably, they talk to your competitors. They had alternatives. They had options, and for some reason, they chose you. But there is a high chance that they wouldn't. So just know what made them actually go for you, and that is your strength point. Really highlight that in your marketing. About it as much as you can with many formats out there.
Got it. Thank you. And the last question I have is basically this question already doesn't need to be answered, but because a lot of people, especially in B2B field, ask it to me, just in few words, should a B2B company be on TikTok? This is like many people in Armenia ask me that.
Well, quite honestly, I'm not a huge fan of TikTok, but I, of course, am, much aware of what's happening there, and I'm being educated about this on a daily basis. So what I can tell about TikTok is that most of TikTok audience is Gen Z generation. So the oldest of Gen Z is 23 years old. Before making a decision on whether your company should be on TikTok, you have to figure out the buyer persona that I mentioned earlier. If in no way the decision maker of your, of the company that you're trying to outreach can be 23 years old and be, very involved in, TikTok, then I absolutely think that it's a waste of time to be there, because what really happens in B2B companies is that we always lack resources, but most of all, we lack time. A lot of work actually for marketing teams to be, consistently, regularly, present on so many social platforms. And what happens in the end, if you choose to be on all of them, you end up being not present at all in any of them. So it really depends, of course, on your resources, on your time. And if you have them in plenty and in abundance, then go for it. Be on is gonna tell no, but what I think in this, in regard to really using your resources in a more conscious way, in a more careful way, is really choose the platforms that you have a higher chance of really converting, a higher chance of really getting something from it, and just don't waste your time on a platform that gives you a less chance of doing so. But I know you may have heard of Gary Vaynerchuk. Everybody, he's the marketing guru of all time. he will tell the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
He will tell the opposite, mentioning that there is a 70% organic growth, organic reach, and engagement on TikTok, and you have to actually educate the wider audience, whoever they are, no matter whether your target audience is there or not. But even if there is a truth out there, and even if as a B2B company you may have a B2C product within it, that's also a nice thing to take into account, of course. But unless you don't have a B2C product within your B2B marketing firm, TikTok is not your first choice.
Got it. Okay, so that was my last question, Susanna. Thank you very much for being with us today. I much appreciate, and it was my pleasure talking to you. And I hope this content will help future marketers and B2B company founders to choose wisely the platforms, the tactics, and do everything right to have success. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Eric. It was a pleasure.